हिरण्मयेन पात्रेण सत्यस्यापि हितं मुखं तत्त्वं कोसनपावृणु सत्यधर्मय दृष्टये. I welcome everybody to the Swadhyaya Jnana Yajna program by Academy of Yoga and Oriental Studies, Bhubaneswar. It is a lecture on Sadanga Yoga of Amritanada Upanishad by Dr. Indulata Das, Director, Academy of Yoga and Oriental Studies, Bhubaneswar. First, let us see what is Amritanada Upanishad. Amritanada Upanishad is a minor Upanishad of 37 mantras only. It is appended to Krishna Yajurveda. The main theme of Amritanada Upanishad is yoga. Then what is the speciality of Amritanada Upanishad? We find that there is the description of Sadanga Yoga in Amritanada Upanishad. Yoga has 6 angas here, not 8 angas. The 6 angas of yoga are like this: Pratyahara तथा ध्यानं प्राणायामोऽथ धारणा तर्कश्चैव समाधिश्च षडंग yoga uchyate. The 6 angas of yoga are like this: Pratyahara, Dhyana, Pranayama, Dharana, Tarka and Samadhi. These are the 6 angas, and this is the sequence according to Amritanada Upanishad, which is very different from the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali. Let us compare the Sadanga with the 8 angas of Patanjali. In Yoga Sutra, we find this sutra: Yama Niyama Asana Pranayama Pratyahara Dharana Dhyana Samadhi Ashtapangani. Yama Niyama Asana Pranayama Pratyahara Dharana Dhyana and Samadhi, these are the 8 angas of Ashtanga Yoga. Therefore, it is called Ashtanga. And in Amritanada Upanishad, it is called Sadanga. Now about asana, we find there is the mention of asanas. A few asanas are mentioned in Amritanada Upanishad, but asana has not been included in the list of angas. Whereas in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, we find that asana is an important anga of the Ashtanga Yoga. The asanas mentioned in Amritanada Upanishad are like this: Padmakang Swastikang Vapi Bhadrasana Mathapiva Badbha Yogasanang Samyak Uttarabhimukhastitaha. That means one should sit in the yogasanas like Padmasana, Swastikasana, Bhadrasana, etc., and he should face the north. This is written during the description of Samadhi, how to practice Samadhi. So during the practice of Samadhi, one has to sit in any meditative asana like Padmasana, Swastikasana or Bhadrasana, and he has to face the north. Now the first anga of the Sadanga Yoga, that is Pratyahara in Amritanada Upanishad. The mantra is like this: Sabdadi Vishayan Pancha Manas Chaivati Chanchalang Chintayadatmana Rasmin Pratyahara Sauchyate. This is the definition of Pratyahara in Amritanada Upanishad. That means the meaning of the mantra is like this: the 5 indriyas which have 5 objects and the mind which are so unstable are nothing but the rays of the self. To contemplate on this is Pratyahara. To contemplate, to meditate on the fact that the 5 indriyas and the mind, which are very unstable, they are nothing but the rage of the self. So I can withdraw them from running outside. That is Pratyahara. Now what is the difference between the definition of Pratyahara between that of Amritanada Upanishad and Yoga Sutra? What is the difference between the two books? The difference is here in Yoga Sutra. We find this sutra: So Vishaya Samprajoge Chitta Swarupanukara Ivendriyanam Pratyahara. That means when there is no association of the indriyas with their respective objects and the indriyas follow the activity of the mind, it is Pratyahara. So this is the definition of Pratyahara in Yoga Sutra, and about the definition of Pratyahara in Amritanada Upanishad we have already discussed it. Now the second anga of the Sadanga Yoga, that is Dhyana, but we do not find any specific definition or description about Dhyana in Amritanada Upanishad in the name of Dhyana. Now the third anga, that is pranayama. Pranayama is a very important anga, and a lot has been discussed in pranayama. It is a spiritual activity. It includes mental repetition of Gayatri mantra as well. So the mantra of Amritanadopanisad about pranayama, the definition of pranayama is like this: Sabhyahruting sapranabang gayatring sirasa saha trihi pathet ayata prana pranayama sauchyate. That means while retention of air, the practitioner should repeat 3 Gayatri mantras along with Vyahruti, Pranava and Gayatri Shiras. So this is pranayama. This is the actual definition of pranayama according to Amritanada Upanishad. Now the total mantra along with Vyahruti, Pranava and Gayatri Shiras. The mantra is like this: Om Huhu, Om Huvaha, Om Swaha, Om Mahaha, Om Janaha, Om Tapaha, Om Satyam, Om Tat Savitur Varenyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Jonah Prachodayat, Om Apa Jyoti Raso Mritang Brahma Bhurbhuvah Svarom. This is the total mantra one should repeat while retention of air. Now the 3 parts of pranayama. In Amritanada Upanishad it is said that pranayamasтрaya proktare cha Puraka Kumbhakaha. That means pranayama is of 3 kinds, that is Rechaka, Puraka, Kumbhaka, but here 3 kinds mean 3 parts of pranayama. Because while retention of air, one has to repeat the Gayatri mantra, and without retention that is no pranayama at all. So the 3 parts of pranayama are Puraka, Rechaka and Kumbhaka. Now definition of Puraka. Puraka is not a normal inhalation, but has certain technique. It is to be, the Puraka has to be done to draw air with a certain technique. Bhakta, the mantra is like this: Bhaktrenotpalanalena toyam akarsayan naraha evang vayur grahitavyaha purakasyati lakshanam. That means Puraka resembles the method of suction of water by mouth with the help of a lotus stalk. So also one has to draw air by nostrils. It requires concentration and carefulness. One has to draw air through the nostrils very carefully and with concentration. That is Puraka. Then definition of Rechaka. The definition is like this: Utkipya vayum akase sunyam krutva niratmakam sunya bhave nijunjyat rechakasyeti lakshanam. Now the meaning is lungs have to be adjusted completely. Every particle of air has to be pushed out. Lungs have to be completely emptied. This is Rechaka. This is the definition of Rechaka. Now definition of Kumbhaka. What is Kumbhaka? Nochaset na nishwasen naiva gatrani chalet evang bhavang nijunjiyat kumbhakasyeti lakshanam. So one should neither exhale nor inhale, should not have any movement in the body. This is the definition of Kumbhaka. He has to retain air, and then he should neither exhale nor inhale. That means he has to retain the air, and then there should not be any movement in the body at all. That is definition of Kumbhaka. So Kumbhaka is not limited to physical and respiratory immobility only. The suspension of all movement of mind and indriyas is required. Suspension of all movement of mind and indriyas is required during Kumbhaka. Therefore, Amritanada Upanishad says, Andhavat pasya rupani shabdang badhiravat srunu kashtavat pasya vaidehang prasantasyati lakshanam. That means, see pictures like a blind man. While doing Kumbhaka, while doing pranayama, see pictures like a blind man sees. That means you should not concentrate at the picture. You are looking at the picture, but you are not seeing it. You are looking at it like a blind man. So hear sound like a deaf man. You are hearing sounds, but you are not hearing it. The sound is coming to the ear, but you are not receiving it. Make the body insensitive like a log of wood. So there should not be any sensation in your body if when you are doing Kumbhaka. Now detailed discussion about airs in the body. There is a lot of discussion in Amritanadopanisad Upanishad about the airs in the body. Pranayama is restraint of air in the body, therefore knowledge of air is very necessary. Now what are the names and places and appearances of airs in the body? The main airs in the body are prana, apana, samana, udana and dhyana. Prana belongs to the cardiac region, and apana, that place of apana is anal region. Then samana, the place of samana is navel region. Then udana is guttural region. Then dhyana is the whole body. The mantra we find in Amritanadopanisad is like this: Prana adyo hudisthane apanastu punargude samano nabi dese tu udana kantham asritaha vyanaha sarveshu changeshu vyapya tishtati sarvada. Now there are colors of the air also. The yogi can see it, normal persons cannot see it. Prana is red like a jewel. Raktavarna mani prakhya prana vayu prakartitaha. Then apana is red but resembles the complexion of the Indra Gopa insect. Apanas tasya madhetu Indra Kopa samaprabha. Indra Kopa, there is an insect that is called Indra Kopa or Indra Gopa, that is red in color, and apana, the color of apana is like the color of Indra Gopa insect. Then comes samana. Samana is milk white. Samanastu doyar madhye gokhira dhavala prabhaha. Then udana. Udana is pale white. Apandara udanascha. Then Dhyana. Dhyana is yellowish like a flame. Dhyana, Hirchi, Samaprabha. These are the colors of the air which the yogi can see but we cannot see. Now we come to the fourth Anga, that is Dharana. The yogi should concentrate on a point, Dhyatva, and shrink the activities of the mind and limit it to the self only. That is called Dharana. If we compare it with the Yoga Sutra, then in Yoga Sutra we find the definition, very short definition, Desabandhas Chittasya Dharana. And the definition of Amritanada Upanishad is not very different from the definition of Yoga Sutra. Ultimately, it is fixation of the mind at a particular point, that is called Dharana. Now the fifth Anga, that is Tarka. This is an addition. We do not find this in the Ashtanga Yoga. What is Tarka? Agamasya virodhena uhanang Tarka uchyate. Tarka is reasoning which does not violate the Vedic norms. Reasoning that does not violate the Vedic norms is Tarka. A good reasoning about sorrowfulness of the world, etc. One should argue in himself that the world is full of sorrows, etc. Then he should argue that what is the necessity of yoga, how to get rid of this sorrowfulness. Then there comes the necessity of yoga to overcome the sorrows. And if one overcomes the sorrows, then he attains eternal happiness. Then one should follow reasoning and not dogmas. There should not, reasoning is different from dogma. Dogma is blind belief, but reasoning is logical. No reasoning should ever go against the Vedic norms, because then it will be waywardness. Then we come to the sixth Anga. It is Samadhi. The definition of Samadhi as given in Amritanadopanisad is like this: Samang manyeta jang labdha sa samadhi prakirtitaha. Samadhi is the state in which yogi feels equanimity. Now let us compare it with Gita. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Equanimity is called yoga. Then there is also in Gita another sloka, Ikhyate yoga juktatma sarvatra samadarshanaha. The yogi views everything with equanimity. When one reaches the state of samadhi, one feels equanimity to everything, to sorrow, and he is neutral to sorrows and happiness, etc. So how to practice Samadhi? Then there is the description how to practice Samadhi. Number one, the yogi has to choose a place which is conducive for yoga. Then he should sit on a seat with kusa spread over it. Bhumau darbhasane ramye sarva dosa vivarjite. Then he should face northward. Then he should assume any meditative posture, a meditative asana like the Padmasana, Swastikasana or Bhadrasana, etc. Padmakang Swastikang Vapi Bhadrasana Mathapiva Badhva Yogasanang Samyak Uttarabhimukha Stitaha. Then he should retain breath and repeat the pranayama mentally. Then he should cancel all the movement in his body and his mind. Tirja urdha madho drusting vihaya cha mahamati stira sthai vinistampa sada yogi samabhyaset. So he should discard all movement in his body, in his of the eyes, and he should sit without any disturbance, without minimum movement in the body, and then he should practice Samadhi. Then there is a description about the things to be avoided, what one should avoid in order to be successful in yoga. The practitioner should avoid a few things which might cause hindrances on the path of yoga. Number one, that is fear. Number two, anger. Number three, excess sleep. Number four, excess waking. Number five, excess eating. Number six, eating too less. So these are the things to be discarded by the practitioner. The mantra is like this: Bhayam krodha matha lasyam ati swapnati jagaram atyahara manaharang nityang yogi vivarjayat. Then comes the description of the time required for success. If one practices yoga sincerely with all formalities and sincerity, then what is the time required for attaining success? This is very optimistic approach. In Amritanadopanisad, we find a very optimistic thing. The Amritanadopanisad believes that it is it believes in quick success if yoga is practiced properly. And what is the time required? The time required is 6 months only. And after practicing 3 months, he acquires knowledge. Then in 4 months, he can view gods. In 5 months, he progresses further to view subtler entities like Virat, etc. In 6 months, he attains Kaivalya. So this is the time required for success according to Amritanadopanisad. Thank you for listening to this lecture. If you have any question or suggestions, please write in the comment box. Thank you again.